They just wanted to be specific. There's a specific person who's handling reporters who are calling in. So bear with me just a moment, and I'll just let them know and figure out who exactly you need to speak with, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Hi, Judy. My name is Mike. I'm calling about the information that's been coming out regarding the accounts at your bank, the First American Federal Credit Union.
America's First Federal.
What's that?
We're America's First Federal Credit Union.
Yep. Yeah, that's.
Okay.
Yep. So there's a lot of information coming out that there was a merchant services checking function. Okay, that when individuals were entering in their social security numbers, and then entering in a check number and checking to see if there was $1 million there, that it was coming up that there was.
Are you checking for yourself, or are you checking as a reporter?
Well, I'm checking for myself. I will share whatever information I find with other people to get the proper information out, but I'm not a reporter, no.
Okay. Well, what is your number then if you're checking for yourself?
What do you mean, my social security number?
Right.
That without asking for my last name.
Okay, all right. Okay, we do not have an account under the Social Security number that you have given me. Our accounts are not set up under Social Security format, and the number that you have is not in our system.
Okay. Now, but with that, I'm not even. So why was the merchant services saying that there was that those funds available to an account in that number?
Excuse me, you're getting away from the phone. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I said so why was it that the merchant services system was saying that there was funds available in that account number?
Do you have a specific account number
That same.
They were saying?
Yeah, that same.
Funds were available.
Yeah, when I entered in that information into your merchant services checker there to see whether you enter that in, and then you enter a check number and you specify a dollar amount. It said there was $1 million available.
Okay, well, the merchant services is not available at this time.
Right, I did it before it was taken down. I just checked. Like I said, I haven't used the account there. I just checked that merchant's. When I heard about that, I did check it, as obviously pretty much anybody would do. And when it had said that, I was kind of surprised. So that's why I'm trying to find out why it would say that there was $1 million available in an account with that number.
What we're telling everyone is that the people that call in with our routing transit and our account number is that, yes, we do have a routing transit that lets us use the Federal Reserve, and therefore, if they go into any website that they're trying to pay any kind of bill on that website, whether it be for motor credit or Alabama Power site, it's not going to verify an account number. All it's doing is verifying that the routing transit is correct. When that item gets to the credit union, that's when the number is verified, and that item will be returned since there is not a valid account number. If anyone has received information that is different from that, they need to call us directly and let us speak with them and look into the situation. And looking at that, we do not have any funds set up for people in the United States. This is a small credit union. We service 18 branches within the state of Alabama.
Okay, and I understand that, but I'm sure as you can understand, typically with a merchant services service like that, where you give a specific check information and a check number with an account number, and you enter a dollar amount, it's not going to go just off the routing number. It's going to go off of the bank itself, and it's going to tell you, yes, there is funds there, or no, there's not, because a merchant can get burned if you enter in the incorrect information, or if the bank is giving out incorrect information on this. So typically those services do not just check the routing number. I'm talking about the...
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold for just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I have researched that, and that was a programming error, and we have corrected that.
Well, I'm sure as you could understand from, if you think about yourself in a position of consumers.
Okay, well, we have disabled that service right now.
Right now, I do have a question regarding. I do have a question. Is it possible that was not necessarily checking your accounts at your bank, but somehow that was it was reflecting about being that you said you do connect with the Federal Reserve routing numbers? Is it possible that it was somehow connecting to that, and it was saying that the funds were available through the Federal Reserve? Is that a possibility?
No.
There's no possibility. Okay. I mean, because truthfully, I mean, from a consumer standpoint, to hear that, that it's being labeled as a malfunction, with all the information that's come out regarding the Federal Reserve and these accounts at the Federal Reserve, it's like that's going to be a very hard to believe. That's going to be a very hard to believe excuse, I guess you'd say. So I know that the accounts are not at your bank. Okay, I totally am in agreement with that. But I personally am thinking that maybe in somehow that merchant services was pulling the information for the accounts from the Federal Reserve.
No, sir. There are no accounts in people's Social Security numbers with our routing transit.
Not yet. Not at your bank. I agree. There are accounts, however, with the Federal Reserve. That I will stand by 110%. I've proven that myself. But at your bank, those accounts do not exist. I agree there. But what I'm saying is when people were entering in their Social Security number and that check information, I'm thinking that it was pulling the Federal Reserve accounts, not your bank accounts, but the Federal Reserve accounts, and that's why they were getting that the funds were available.
Sir, that service has been disabled, and we're not going to say any more about this. And you have a good day and goodbye.
Okay, that's very apparent. That's very transparent right there, your statement. Okay. Well, as you guys can hear, there's definitely something there. The accounts are not at that bank. I totally will stand by that 150%. But at the same time, I am about truth. So that was the reason why I was willing to just do what I just did. I also exposed my personal information to those people, which I will gladly do. But their reaction explains that there was a big fuck up, that they had some kind of an some form of information that should not have been given out that accidentally did get out. And I will say this much, that I do give credit. Okay, now don't take this the wrong way, because I still stand by what I said about that individual and what that individual is doing. I do give credit for finding those, that service was explaining that. Now, I do think, however, that it was misguided, that it was then being assumed that the accounts are at that bank. What I think was indirectly happening was, as you heard them say, they do link back to the Federal Reserve as far as routing numbers, which most banks do. That's where they pull the cash. The cash gets pulled from in certain aspects. Okay, so with all of the research and all of the data that we've uncovered in this search so far, we know that specific banks do connect back to the Federal Reserve for replenishment of funds, for cash printing purposes, etc., etc. Now, I think what was happening was somehow that specific merchant services was malfunctioning, in the sense that instead of just reflecting the available funds for that specific bank, because let's be real, do you really think that they're going to move those accounts to some small fry bank that's in Alabama? I highly doubt it. Now, what I think was happening was it was indirectly, it was checking the accounts back at the Federal Reserve, where we know that they do exist. And I think that it was reflecting the balances available of those accounts that we've been talking about for the last month and a half, that do exist at the Federal Reserve. So again, I would strongly urge to not use that specific bank routing, because I don't think that you're getting the true account there. I think what's happening is it's the same as the other lesser bank methods, where it's just kind of bypassing the Federal Reserve itself. I think that we should stick to the Federal Reserve, keep pounding on their door, because that's where the accounts lie. That's where the trust really lies. So we need to wake people up and expose that, and then we'll have full access to our accounts. There's no paperwork necessary. For those of you that didn't see the last video that I put up, going into the UCC filings that Heather and OPPT did in 2012. Also, there was UCC filings that were done by Judge Anna Von Reitz. Those were for everybody. We don't need to do more paperwork. This is what I've been trying to explain this whole time. And I know it's being pushed about the TDA legacy accounts. The TDA legacy accounts have nothing to do whatsoever with these trusts. Okay, the trusts lie at the Federal Reserve. They don't lie at Treasury Direct. Treasury Direct was a coined name to give these accounts something familiar to people, so they would understand what they were. We do have many accounts around, but the main account is at the Federal Reserve. That's the account that we want to access. Those are the ones that have enslaved us. Those are the bankers. Those are the Rothschild-owned central bank masters that tie back to the BIS. And in Heather's UCC filings, you see specifically named the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. And the Bank of International Settlements has remained very hidden in everything. It's only been focused on the Federal Reserve and the fact that the Federal Reserve is the masters, if you will, but the Bank of International Settlements is above the Federal Reserve. They are the ones that everything leads back to, okay? Alex Jones, I don't really hear him talk about them. Same with some of the other big alternative media sites. So that's who we need to focus on. That's who we need to target in with this this war on for truth, and expose with our greatest weapon, which is the truth. Okay. Now, granted, one thing we know is that the disruptors, the ones that are gonna confuse us and divide us, etc., they're gonna give a little bit of truth and do something good to gain people's trust and attention, etc., and then they're gonna fill you with lies and mislead you the rest of the way. So I think that needs to be remembered with all of this. But you saw her reaction when I started talking about, do you think that this, she was very, very stern and calm when I was saying regarding their bank itself not having the accounts. And I truthfully believe that's because they don't have the accounts. And I think that conversation just exposed that. They don't have the accounts at that bank. What was happening was that merchant services was accidentally pulling the information from the Federal Reserve accounts and telling people the information there. So that's why they disabled it, and that's why she just freaked out pretty much and hung up on me. I think I'm literally getting to the source, the truth. I think that I'm literally right there on the cusp. So why don't you guys share this information far and wide, because I think that I just kind of hit the nail on the head there, and I think that now we are getting closer and closer. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, do so now. Most importantly, share this information, get it out. Much love, and God bless you all.